Hey guys, Frightener22 here, and welcome back to a new installment of At the Movies. Over the weekend I was actually away, but I did manage to see one of the most highly anticipated 2010 releases for me. So by the looks of my 3D glasses, I think it's pretty evident as to what I actually went and saw over the weekend. I saw the 3D version of Alice in Wonderland. Now, as I had stated, this was actually one of the most anticipated releases of 2010 for me, and if any of you guys know me or have gotten a feel of like what my interest in film, likes are over all the months that I've been hosting my YouTube channel, it's no mystery that the combination of Tim Burton and Johnny Depp just brings true magic to the screen for me. And I've always really appreciated and admired all of their collaborations and work. Tim Burton is my favorite director of all time, and Johnny Depp is by far my favorite actor of all time. And of course, just when you get that kind of combination working together so elegantly and amazingly as they have over ever since 1990 with Edward Scissorhands, and running well into 2010 with, I believe, is their seventh or eighth collaboration. They've worked on Edward Scissorhands. They've worked on one of my favorite films of all time, Ed Wood. They've done Sleepy Hollow together. They have done Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, The Corpse Bride, and here we are with Alice in Wonderland, as well as the 2007 release of the musical Sweeney Todd. So as you can see, these guys have really gotten accustomed to working together, and it's obvious to see why they come back together, because these guys truly make great fucking work. And with a film such as Alice in Wonderland, it's really cool to see it get released, because it's always been one of those, topic of conversations as the years have gone on, of like, oh, well, wouldn't it be really fucking cool if Tim Burton made an Alice in Wonderland movie? Over and over, fans have talked about that over the years, and just how fitting the imagination of Tim Burton mixed with the world of Alice in Wonderland, how beautifully that would meld together. And, over the years there had been discussions of Burton actually coming on to making an Alice in Wonderland movie, but it wasn't until 2010 where we actually got to feast our eyes on the finished product of what would become Tim Burton's interpretation of Alice in Wonderland. So basically, in this version, it deals with a 19-year-old Alice who actually returns back to the imagination world of Wonderland that she knew as a child, and she comes back there not really remembering a whole lot, so she really has to relearn all of the characters that she had encountered when she was a child. But now that she is back, as her 19-year-old self, she has a mission in mind, thanks to all of the characters that she had come to know, and that has put an end to the Red Queen's reign across Wonderland. Now, the one thing that I have to say that I do admire about this interpretation of the film is that it isn't a real, they're not going over, the same kind of path that has been done so many times when telling the story of Alice in Wonderland. Immediately people think, okay, it's the girl, she's going to go down the rabbit hole, young girl, meeting all these kooky characters, and, etc., etc. I like the fact that they actually developed the character, and you made it known that she was young, but that they jumped ahead 13 years later, and you're presented with a 19-year-old girl who's due to be married, but she knows that this person is not the right one for her. So, it's that journey back into, a world that she had known as a child, but, over the years of growing up and maturing, she just kind of forgot along the way. So I did really like that. I thought that was a very clever and, ballsy move for the film, because I think going into it, a lot of people may have expected them to just kind of go over and, retell the same story. So I really admire the film for that. The characters in this were really stunning. I mean, the cast that Burton garnered was really great. And I mean, who doesn't want to work with Burton? He's a goddamn genius. So obviously you have Johnny Depp playing the Mad Hatter, of which I think he did really well with. I mean, like I said, when Burton and Depp work together, I think they just really bring the best out of each other. So Depp as the Mad Hatter was a really fitting, great kickstart to this film actually getting underway. In addition, you have Anne Hathaway playing the White Queen, as well as Helena Bonham Carter playing the evil Red Queen. You have the likes of Alan Rickman voicing the Caterpillar. You also have the likes of Crispin Glover, who surprisingly has never worked with Tim Burton before Alice in Wonderland. And for years, I just always felt that, the likes of Crispin Glover and Burton just seemed like inevitable, and I just find it so surprising that it took, all the way until 2010 to finally see this collaboration happen. But Crispin Glover was really phenomenal in it, as was the rest of the cast. The actress that played Mia Wachowski is a young up-and-comer named Mia Wachowski. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce her last name, but like I said, she's a new up-and-coming actress. I believe the only other thing that I saw her in was the alligator film Rogue that was presented by Dimension Extreme a couple years back. But I think that she handled the role of Alice really well. She brought a nice little gravity to it, and I think that she did well for what the part chose. Now, a lot of the bickering that I hear about this film is the usage of the 3D technology as well as the CG that Burton used, because a lot of people have come to know Burton as using as stripped down real things as possible, utilizing set designers to build real sets so that the actors can feel like they're in an environment that they can actually work with, as well as using as little CG as possible. So Alice in Wonderland was quite a departure from the Burton techniques that we've come to know, but I actually did like it. I mean, dealing with what you had, Wonderland kind of needed that that special oomph to it. It worked well. I mean, I think that you could have used sets like he did in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which was of course another Burton and Depp collaboration in 2005, a really great underrated gem in their long catalog of collaborations. But you could have used real sets and it probably would have looked great. But I think the CG just brought a really great kick to the film, and I think it really did add to the spirit and the vibe of the film. So I think it looked really great. I mean, I think for this being an area that Burton is more or less new to and not as accustomed to as say stop motion, I think that he handled it really well, and I think the visual look and just the beauty that you get when you see Wonderland is really incredible. So, I mean, I really did like, what Burton did with the CG technology, although I absolutely, favor his more stripped down, using real sets and, real environments a little bit more than the CG. But for him, really using it full on in Alice in Wonderland, it really did look really great. The 3D is actually really great. It's not so much as a gimmicky thing where you're seeing, things popping at you so much. I mean, it is in there a little bit, but overall, the 3D is kind of used as just more to enhance the environment, much like Avatar was. So I think in that sense, the 3D is actually really, it's used in a really great, tasteful manner. Now, to be honest, I don't know why. I guess it's just kind of like a 3D overload of so many films being, presented in 3D these days and just always wearing those glasses. But towards the end of Alice in Wonderland, I did kind of develop a headache, which is the first time that's ever happened. But it's nothing bad against the way that they use the 3D. I just think that the way my head's been feeling, just seeing so much 3D in this short, this huge increase in 3D films now, it's just kind of been, giving me a bit of a headache. So this kind of brought me over the edge. Just there's a lot of colors and a lot of, visually engaging things that really benefit the 3D technology, so it was just a little much, but it was really cool. Overall, I have to say, as many kind words as I'm saying about this, I've always walked out of a Burton and Depp collaboration saying that every time these guys work together, it just is magic, and each time is better than the last time. I walked out of Alice in Wonderland not feeling that exactly. I think that it is a fitting, collaboration for them, but it certainly isn't the best thing that they've done yet. It's an incredibly entertaining film. It's tons of fun, but I still think that Burton and Depp have, better things to offer. There was just, I don't know, I just didn't get the same feeling that I got with Edward Scissorhands and Ed Wood. I'd have to give it, a second viewing once it comes to DVD and Blu-ray just to understand a little bit better what it was. But I'm just going to go ahead and, go out on a limb and say that it certainly isn't the best thing that these guys have done. But don't let that dissuade you from seeing it, because this is a really great magical film that Burton brought to theaters all across the country, and I really think that none of you guys should miss it in 3D. Take advantage of the time that it's out in 3D. So that's all I got for you guys. Thanks again for tuning in to my At the Movies segment of Alice in Wonderland, and I'll see you next time. This is Frightener22.